I told you many years ago, you have extraordinary communication skills. You've got a Rolls-Royce voice, okay?
For today's podcast, I travel to Guthrie Castle in Scotland, the residence of my dear mentor, Mr. Dan Peña, a high-performance business coach, also known as the $50 billion man. Dan the Money Man, as I call him in my books, founding father of Quantum Leap Advantage. Mr. Peña and I first met at Guthrie when I was $2 million in debt due to bad investments in the stock market. After being a DJ at the #1 radio station in the Netherlands and a TV host at Dutch MTV, I became a millionaire at the age of 28. But I lost everything I owned when the markets collapsed by the end of 1998. I was desperate. How could I ever survive? Then I met Mr. Peña. For a week he gave me a private one-on-one seminar, taught me QLA and how to become a high-performance person. Within a year I built a $20 million company. And by the age of 37 I retired to enjoy life, sailing the world. And now I live on a sunny island, living my best life. In the meantime, I published 2 best-selling books, and now I teach others what I have learned from business to Buddha. In today's podcast, the man who was the lighthouse in my darkest night. With great gratitude to Mr. Dan Peña. First question, what is QLA?
QLA is learning how to play all the financial instruments in the financial orchestra and leveraging in a good way the financial system to your benefit, starting with no money. And no education is required other than your commitment, your focus, your desire to create generational wealth for you. What would normally take 20 to 25 years, a generation, we have the kids do in 3 to 7 years, depending on the area and your motivation and your focus. And then you go with that generational wealth, and then you do. Some people go save the planet, and some people continue on creating more. But we exit after 5 or 6 or 7 years, either through a public offering, an IPO, like on the Amsterdam Beurs, or we sell to an industry giant. And we have people from A to Z in areas around the world. And I've personally been using this methodology for almost 50 years, but I've been teaching it, coaching it for almost 24 years now. But it's the same methodology that Andrew Carnegie, the great steel magnate, and Henry Ford, to name 2 from a long, long time ago, are using or used, and it's currently being used today. Bill Gates used it in Microsoft. And Elon Musk is using it now. The difference is we're starting with no money, and we show the kids how to do it with no money, through surrounding themselves with a dream team of highly successful people. And it's worked very well. I started with no money, and that's the basis of the program. I started with $820, and I turned it into a $450 million in about 7 or 8 years. And we've had many greater successes than myself, i.e. the $50 billion man. The $50 billion only accounts for a couple of guys. We've got a couple of guys that have created $50 billion between them. And it's I give all my product away free on my website, danpena.com. I have for a number of years, but I only give these seminars, as you've attended now. This is your 3rd time, exclusively here at Guthrie Castle in Scotland, a few times a year. And we're extremely happy to see you back all this time.
Can anyone do QLA?
Anybody. I've had priests, nuns, rabbis, doctors, lawyers, accountants, physiotherapists, kinesiologists, school teachers, all come through the program. As long as it's moral, ethical, and legal, any background or any focus works, and we've had successes in all those. Also works in corporate world. My leading mentee in the corporate world is Dr. Klaus Kleinfeld, who is currently the chairman of Alcoa, which is a Fortune 500 company in America, but he was CEO of Siemens, the 20th largest company in the world, 400,000 employees, 100 billion in revenue. He came to me as a middle manager in healthcare about 20 years ago, and after 7 years, he was appointed CEO. Also for broadcasters, actors, people in the entertainment business like yourself. Also for coaches, people that are coaching now and mentoring like yourself.
Mm-hmm. You train high performance people. What differs high performance people from the majority of the population?
They have a willingness to pay the price, what I call the pay price to action, a commitment. They're not all talk. They realize, I use the analogy, I'm not sure about the Netherlands, but in the UK and the US, 60% of the people are obese. And it's pretty well accepted to not be obese. You eat the right calories, reduce the right calories intake, and exercise. But they don't do it. So most people that aren't high performance aren't willing to pay the price of focus and commitment. The people that are willing to are normally associated with athletes. An Olympic guy or gal has made that commitment. But high performance people are in any organization, any field, any endeavor. And some of my most successful are priests that, for example, a Greek Orthodox priest from Romania that now for the first time in 300 years or so, the diocese pays for itself because it's formed businesses, it's done things all under the auspices and the approval of the church. And so, but if you want that and you're willing to make the commitment, then QLA is for you.
I've met many amazing people in my life, pop stars, rock stars, businessmen, from Janet Jackson to Sandra Bullock, Robbie Williams, Giorgio Armani, even Bill Gates. But you are by far the most impressive person on my list.
Well, thank you.
Because of you were the lighthouse in my darkest night. But it seems that you're almost always right. Ever since I've known you, you're almost always right. And yesterday you told me, I know what God knows.
Yeah, well,
tell me.
I am almost always right. And I've been like this since I was young, and I certainly have no ties that I'm aware of to God. But I have made some godlike calls over the years. And it's a sense I have, but I am 71 and a half years old now. So it's, in recent years, the last 10 or 15 years, it's because I've been around a long time, but I have exposed myself to super high performance people almost all my life. Real shakers and movers, real big hitters, and really successful people, both monetarily, religiously. So now I don't feel it's my twilight of my career, but in my twilight years, I say with even more satisfaction and more of a guarantee. I say sarcastically, but I don't really mean it sarcastically. I'm telling you what the Lord knows, because if He was sitting here, He'd say this, this, and this. He'd say that you should do this, this, and this, as opposed to what you're doing. So, but I have. And of course, I'm very close to the Catholic Church, and Sally, my lovely wife, and I support several orphanages and missions and stuff like that. And the nuns say, and the priests and the brothers, that there's something spiritual about me, and that because I've corrected them.
Why do they say that?
Because my insight and my instincts and my presence, they say there's an aura about me, and I can't see that aura. Mm-hmm. I look in the mirror, I see a gray-haired guy with a receding hairline who's been terribly successful and that has trained terribly successful people that have trained terribly successful people. And so in that regard, if I have a direct line someplace, it's not because he came down and gave me a piece of paper, but telling me so. But I am the advice and the guidance that I've given has been remarkably accurate. And I've called some pretty strange calls dating back to 1984-5 when I said the pound and the dollar, US dollar, were going to go to parity. It did. I recently called way before anybody else was on the bandwagon. Donald Trump was going to be the president of the United States. I called 13 of the 13 things that he's done his first acts as president of the United States. I called in August of 2014 when oil was $120 a barrel. I said it was going to $40 a barrel in the next 2 years. It went to $26 a barrel a year ago, and it's currently around $50 a barrel.
What's your next prediction?
My next prediction is we're going through the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the planet since Second World War. And I've been in the Netherlands. I'm probably older than most of the people going to watch this. I was in the Netherlands in 51, and 52, and when Rotterdam and Amsterdam were flat from the war, because my dad was officer during the Korean War. I see that for the first time, and it's going to start in the United States and it's spreading to the rest of the world, that the financial handcuffs that have been on most of the financial institutions since 2008 and 9 when we had that economic crash are being released. I know, for example, in the United States, when taxes come down, federal corporate tax comes down to from 40+% to 20+%, I know what the geometric ripple effect that's going to have around the world. What are you going to tell your grandchildren? What are you going to tell your kids? Gee, Grandpa, what were you doing during the greatest economic transformation on the planet? Did you do anything or did you have your thumb up your butt? I mean, times like this, I didn't think I'd live long enough to see this again. Interest rates are next to zero. They're giving money away, literally giving it away, and it's going to get looser. They're going to loosen it up. I mean, the ability for people to finance small businesses now is going to increase dramatically. The last time I saw it was in the 80s, and I didn't think I'd be around for another time. I was part of it in the 80s, and I'm going to be part of it through my mentees. You were here this week. You heard me make 3 announcements. One of my mentees on a deal, he got a $31 million check. I mean, it's not Elon Musk money, but it's a lot of money to most people. Another kid signed $1 billion oil deal. Another kid got 600,000 euros from the EU for his movie deal. This is 1 week. I mean, it's got a ripple effect. And for those of you that don't know, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the EU have funds that probably nobody's ever told you about that are all online that you can go to fund your transactions for startups. But nobody's talking about that because the money is free, more or less, and there's no way that anybody's going to benefit. Nobody's telling you. I tell you because I give all my stuff away free anyway. But I want you to benefit.
You have 5 credos of success.
Correct.
Let's go to number 2. See your dreams ahead of time now.
Correct.
Why is that so important?
Because, as you know, I grew up poor, and we had no real dream. I had no dreams. I didn't know how much a million was. I didn't know how many zeros was in a million until I went in the Army when I was 20. But for example, let's just take the Olympic athletes or the Netherlands footballers. Okay, some of the people call it soccer, but you call it football, obviously. They dream of playing in the World Cup all their life, okay? From when they're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, and they see themselves there before they're ever in a World Cup. Tom Brady, who just won the Super Bowl for the 5th time, here a few weeks ago, saw himself as a child in his dreams that he associated his goals to from a little boy, and now he just won his 5th Super Bowl. Most of the time, we associate seeing ourselves in our dreams with athletics. We know that guys and gals that run the hurdles, that run the marathon, that run the mile, etc., have seen themselves winning, crossing the tape to get a gold medal. What we see much less of is these people associating their goals. Well, a big home, taking care of my parents, making sure my kids went to the right school. As you know, I taught at Nijrode, and I taught at Erasmus back in the 90s, and those kids had dreams. But most of the kids that I taught there had dreams associated with athletics. They didn't have dreams associated with financial gains. And I tell the kids now, especially, money's not the root of all evil. I mean, if you want to do good and you want to save the planet from global warming, if you believe in that or whatever, make money and then go save the world and create wealth.
Is the problem that most people do not have dreams, or they don't dream big enough?
Don't dream big enough. Many adults have dreams for their kids, okay? To get them safely through school, university, happily married, grandchildren. But they don't dream then to be a prime minister, to be a millionaire, etc., etc. And even the kids here that are high performance that come here to the seminars, their dreams are small. Compared to what we teach them. We tell everybody, if it's a monetary dream and a monetary goal, add 2 or 3 zeros to it. Some people may dream that they want to be millionaires, and there's no reason why you can't be worth hundreds of millions now. And with the economic transformation that has already begun, and I announced on November 8th, the day of the election, although President Trump didn't take over until January 20th or 21st, it's the beginning of a new era, and I don't want to see kids miss out. And I call everybody kids because I'm old enough either to be your father or your grandfather, but I don't want the kids to miss out. And there's huge opportunities out there, and what makes it easier for the kids today is that everything's internet based. Before you had to use shoe leather. You got on a bus, a train, a plane, a boat to go do something. Now,
but isn't that also why they are so lazy?
Correct. Okay, there's the good. The good part is you can get everything done quickly. The bad part is that you've lost your ability to interact socially. You've lost your communication skills. I told you many years ago. You have extraordinary communication skills. You've got a Rolls Royce voice. Okay, and but most people don't have those communication skills. You develop those communication skills, and most people don't.
But it's also mindset. You say, credo number 4, act as if there are no limits to your abilities. But most people are conditioned with limiting beliefs. Correct.
The limiting beliefs start with your parents, unfortunately, because they have limiting beliefs. And their parents had limiting beliefs.
So how can you break through that?
Okay, well, show me your friends and I show you your future. I mean, if you're sitting around in a wine bar or a sports bar, belching and watching, football on TV, when you're 20, you're probably going to be doing it when you're 40. So it's the people that you associate with, first of all, and the people that you currently associate with. Probably you need to up your peer group. You up your peer group, so you want to be associated with people that have like dreams, that want to do spectacular things, that want to create change. Most of the people that are on the planet today that are being raised aren't being raised to create change. They were created, or procreation, because they just to fit in. 87% of the people, Gallup poll was last year. Gallup is a big structured company that takes surveys. 87% of the people on the planet aren't happy. Are not happy. That's a big number. 87%. They feel they don't fit in. They feel that they're in a no-win job.
So what can they do to change?
Well, they have to
Come here.
Well, they can come here, but I mean, we don't have that many spots. They can come here, but I mean, I recommend people use Toastmasters to learn how to speak better. I don't tell you to go back to school, but take courses that might will improve your position in life. Most people don't want to change jobs because they don't like change. But I mean, if you've been in the same job, I just told my daughter this, if you've been doing the same, and she's only been there 2 years because she just recently got out of graduate school. But I mean, if you're not happy after 2 years where you are, change jobs. The great tool on the internet is LinkedIn, where, and I think it's the greatest tool on the internet for changing your life. Mm-hmm. You list your what you've done, your CV, your resume. You list what your interests are. You have a picture, a nice picture of you. If you're a guy in a suit, ladies a nice outfit, and you look for other opportunities. It doesn't mean you have to take the opportunities, but most people that are on the planet don't know what opportunities are available. They have no idea. We want to stay in our comfort zones. We're afraid. Fear is false expectations appearing real. They don't know what they could do because they haven't tried, because they haven't seen their parents. The greatest thing that I believe that the humans were put on this earth is to procreate and to prolong the human race. But it's the thing that they're least prepared to do. Who trains you to be a parent? Nobody.
But isn't being unhappy also a result of just not knowing what to do, what you want? That people
correct. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, but the self-exploration. You have to ask yourself. In 10 years, looking back, am I going to regret this? Mm-hmm. And what part of my job as a mentor coach is to minimize your regrets. So when you're 60, 70, or 80, you don't look back in your life and say that, I regretted this. I used to say it was my 80-year-old regret minimization formula. I said that since I'm about 50. Well, now I'm almost 72, so I've changed it from 80 because I'm going to be 80 pretty soon. I've changed it to now my 100-year-old regret minimization. What am I going to regret when I'm 100? The kids come here. You see the group. We've got 20 people roughly, and some of them have been successful. Mm-hmm. Some of them have been really successful, but they regret. I should have done this. I could have done this. And there's no harm in trying anything as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical.
Finally, what is your driving force, your calling in life at this moment?
My calling in life is I want to change the attitude and the belief system of as many people on the planet as I can before I leave the planet. I want to have as many people on the planet have less regrets on the planet, and to be known as you did in your introduction, the greatest high performance coach that ever lived. And right now, by numbers, I am, based on the value I've created, 50 billions for other people, not me, but for them and my mentees. And I'd like to have a 500 billion before I'm gone. And with this economic transformation coming up, kids, believe me, you got the chance now. And then go save the world. In global warming, Netherlands will be gone. I mean,
more water to sail on.
But more water to sail on. But I mean, I want to be known as the guy that reduced regrets worldwide and created more generational wealth than anybody that ever has.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for being my mentor.
Okay, it's my pleasure, Michael. You've done a great job, and I know yourself, you've changed a lot of lives, and people that have come here have been sent by you. And it also goes to show, my style isn't his style, and my style isn't everybody that comes to this program style. but he's here for his refresher, a new light, and but I mean, he himself, Michael, has helped people have less regrets. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
Okay.